Hello and welcome to my gallery space. Thank you for joining me on this video tour. We're going to be spending some time here and then moving on to Neil's gallery on the bluff, where he has a lot of my art featured. This painting is part of my continuing antiquities series, and I've included cultural artifacts, art motifs from Egyptian cultures, Etruscan, and Australian Aboriginal. And this iris painting, of course, my two favorite flowers to paint are iris and sunflowers, so I gave it kind of a Van Gogh treatment to make the colors more rich looking. And here's one of my favorite barns to paint in Spokane, and this is an oil of zinnias and apricots on the branch, and cherries. And here's another from my Antiquities series, and I've used Paleolithic drawings from the caves in southwest France, the Chauvet and Lascaux caves. And I've included a Rousseau painting with tiger and hippo, and since it has bananas and oranges, I've included them with a still life in the center. And this wall reflects a lot of my painting interests for subjects. I have antique trucks, 30s and 40s, which I really enjoy painting, and landscapes, musical pieces. So why don't we take a little break and move into my painting room and see what kind of art is there. I bought several bunches of red and white sweet onions from the Saturday market, and I became totally obsessed with painting them. This one I added some daylilies and apricots too for a little extra color. And then of course this one I used the same bowl that I have here. And this painting is a fairly quiet one in terms of muted colors. Two women picking marsh iris along the Spokane River. Of course, they're wearing babushkas, reflects my Czechoslovakian heritage. And this painting, it's an oil, and it's one of my favorite landscapes. I just love the dark trees in the background and the iris in the foreground. You know, sometimes you just feel like stopping everything and having a great big old party. And that's what I decided to do. I sent out a lot of invitations. And look who showed up. A Chinese emperor, Picasso's girlfriend, Frida Kahlo. We had a fabulous time. And I decided to call the painting Artist Lunch with the Emperor. This is a Matisse-inspired piece where I use his pink nude as part of the composition, and a tribute to Andy Warhol. And hollyhocks, they always remind me of the English cottages and the countryside. I love painting them. They have great colors. This painting, honestly, took me like 2 months to complete. It seemed to take forever, like I'd never finish. But I wanted to do a collage where I included road signs, the 30s, 40s, and 50s, cars and trucks, and then license plates. So it was a great day when I finally completed it. Now, typically, Picasso treats women as sex objects. And I decided to offer a little slightly different perspective, so I combined two of his paintings, and I added some watering cans, and I call this Picasso's Women with Watering Cans. This is a painting of Rancho Santa Fe in California, and I'm fascinated by the citrus orchards, lemons and oranges, so it was fun to recreate this scene. Lastly, I painted this as a tribute to indigenous native cultures, and I decided to call it Heart of a Warrior. say I have an idea. Let's take a little break and go to visit one of my favorite artists. Of course, I love Van Gogh and his work. We briefly dated in the 1890s, and he taught me so much about art, which is why periodically I like to include compositions of his in my own artwork. For these two, I picked 2 olive orchards that he had painted in the south of France. And I wanted the scene to look as though you were in the interior of a house, looking out, not at his actual painting, but at the landscape that he was trying to recreate. Well, here we are at Neil's Gallery on the Bluff, gorgeous space. And this 6-foot by 4-foot canvas is a recreation, from my point of view, for Henri Matisse's studio. And it contains 15 of his paintings, as well as the long-suffering Madame Matisse, whom, no matter which room she tried to go into, she could not get away from all the posing artist models. And this was fun to paint, a lot of decorative vases and 2 cats. And of course, I love painting water lilies and koi, so this was very enjoyable to work on. And I saw a solitary pair hanging from a tree branch, and I thought it was such a Zen moment, and so recreated the little vignette. I spent some time in San Diego, and I totally enjoyed seeing the desert landscapes and the cactus and palm trees. So I did these 2 paintings recreating those desert landscapes, and then of course I decided to mix a little koi and bluebirds in both of these pieces. Now this is where I'd like to spend most of my time living, in a colorful garden of iris. And of course I can totally relate to these ladies all dolled up for their stroll through the iris garden. And this is the first of my blended pieces that I'm showing you. And we'll see a whole wall of the blended art pieces. So if you'll follow me over here. I call these blended because they start with an original painting of mine, and then it's combined digitally with another photographic image. And of course the end results ends up to be a photographic image. And to tell you the truth, it's a lot harder to produce these blended images because it goes so far beyond the original composition, because then it has to be, there's a lot of work that is required to blend the images to get the colors just right. So I'm always very impressed with the end results, knowing how much work was in the creation of these compositions. Well, this is the final painting in our video tour, and I call it She Who Paints the Fish. It reflects my anthropological interests, and I just love her. She's such a beauty. I hope you've enjoyed the video tour, and if you saw something that you liked and want to see it more up close and personal, feel free to contact me and we can chat about it. So thanks once again. I hope you had a lot of fun. I sure did.